Hello adventurers, and welcome to another Black Desert mobile video. Today I really wanted to make something on memory imprints. So there was recently an update where we now have memory imprint presets. I know that I talked about it in my last video and I was super excited about it, and I am still very excited. This is one of the best updates that we've been given. In case you're not super sure about what memory imprints are, I'm gonna do like a super quick crash course for them, but basically it's something having to do with your Black Spirit. You'll just go here. I don't actually know what you need to do to unlock them, but I'm assuming all you really have to do is do your main story and eventually you'll unlock them. But right here, memory imprint is what we're looking at. And these are, this is what your imprint page is gonna look like now. So as for the crash course portion of this, all you really need to know is over on the left side, these are the presets. You'll just click one, and then whenever you want to swap to that, you'll hit this check mark. Okay, cool. When you start out, you will have all of your imprints in your inventory. What you'll have to do is go ahead and select the ones that you want to enter in there, and then you'll click load. Once you click load, it'll move it over to your memory imprint inventory. However, you only have a certain amount of inventory slots for this. So two things really quickly before we move on. You can expand your number of imprint preset pages. So all you really have to do is buy them for 1,000 black pearls. You can buy 3 more in total. I highly recommend doing that if you have enough black pearls. I obviously don't. But then also you can buy more memory imprint inventory slots as well. You can do that with black pearls. You can also do that with normal pearls. And there are also some that you can buy, I believe, with just silver. These right here, I already bought them, so I actually don't know how many you can buy. I think it's like another 5 or something like that. But I do highly recommend, like, buy whatever you can. The presets, buy them. The inventory slots for silver, buy them. And then the ones for black pearls, buy them. And then if you need more, buy them with pearls. I think it's a pretty good worthwhile investment. So that's the crash course. Back over here in the inventory though, if you want to kind of pick your items before they move into your memory imprint inventory, you can filter them by parts. What I would do is just do like main weapon, and it's like, okay, this is what I have for the main weapon, and then you can remove that filter, go to the next one, go to armor, and yeah, so on and so forth. Pick the ones that you're really looking for. The main portion of this video though, which I probably should have said this from the beginning, is I'm gonna show you a bunch of presets that I have picked out for the most part. So this is a resource that I'm going to be providing in the description, or I guess in the description below this video. But this resource is going to show like a general build for presets. It's going to give you like all of the stats that you'll want for these imprints. I have multiple ones, so some for PvP, some is just like what I'll normally wear whenever I'm doing like an all-around build, I guess. I have one for black shrines or for world bosses, so this is pretty cool. And then also I have one for farming, another one for just purely HP recovery. This is like a for fun page, because I had seen the other day that someone was wanting to know like what are like the best HP ones you can use for imprints, and I was like, you know, that's kind of fun. And then also I have a page for debuffs. I guess, yeah, never mind. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. So yeah, these are the presets that I'll be going over. There's some really interesting information. I do have like some ground rules that I want to cover regarding these memory imprints as well. But then also in this resource, what I'm gonna have is like a little bit more information about these. This image right here over on the right side of the screen. Also, sorry to anyone who's like viewing this on their phone. This is going to be really small text, so I highly encourage just either open this up on your own using the link below, but this will have some pretty interesting information. But this image is mostly just for your gear. It doesn't have anything for your your accessories. So this image is a little bit outdated, but yeah, there's some pretty good information in here as well. What it's basically saying is like what ability combinations can you have on the same imprint, and it's also kind of broken down here as well, and I broke it down by colors. The yellow basically means like you can have both of those on the same imprint. The white means you can have one white and then one yellow, or yeah, etc, etc. But if it's just white, you can't have two of the same one. So this right here, this little graph, it's pretty useful. I don't think I finished like the belt, the earring, and the bracelet, so I will still be updating this page as I go along. But for right now, I think it's in a pretty acceptable spot. So it's got pretty juicy information in here, that's what I'll say. And then also what I've done is I have broken down each one of the imprints by possible abilities, and this is just like listed by their slots. So if you really want to go in here, you can actually filter these out. So if you just want to look at armor, you'll just clear it and select armor, and then you can see like, oh, well, I can get something for on hit, or I can get something whenever I'm attacked, or like something for evasion, and then also permanent. So this is like a full list of all the possibilities. But this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So I like to look at it as like, as this view. It's like, oh, these are the things that I have the option or the ability to use. But what really matters is the full list of the abilities. So certain abilities can only be paired with other ones as shown over on this page. So what you'll want to do is like you pick something that you like, and then kind of just go in here and make sure it can be paired with the other option that you're looking at. So let's say that I'm looking at, this is just a random example, but it's the easiest one because there's so few options. I'm looking at armor, and the main thing that I'm looking at is I want to see what has permanent max HP. So if I were to go in here, clear all of this, max HP, these are the only options for max HP. Is like, oh, I can literally only get this with these other skills. So yeah, just sorry, I didn't mean to go super in depth on this right now, but I just wanted to show you that this is what's gonna be in this document, basically. Just a lot of really good information. I'll be going over this a little bit more, especially whenever I'm going over the presets. But then also what I have in here is each one of these imprints you can get from doing specific content. So I went ahead and I put like the content that you can get from it. So like main weapon you get from crafting, sub weapon you can get from farming these specific areas, armor you can get from doing this content, so etc, etc. If you're looking to try to farm specific pieces, you'll have to do this content. It does have some luck involved, but also another way you can get them is just buying them from the market. Some things like the armor is super expensive, so it's never really worth buying from the market, so you might just want to farm those. The necklace really never sells on the market, so just make sure you're doing Ilton defense, or like whenever we have events that pop up, necklace is pretty much the only thing that I try to like get from. Like sometimes we'll get these chests that let us select which memory imprint that we want as a primal. But yeah, anyways. And then also I have a tab in here for useful links. I saw that Woods had made an imprint video a few months ago, maybe. I thought that was super helpful. I never finished the video, so my bad. And then also this link right here will take you to Black Desert Mobile's website, and it shows you basically everything that I just showed right now. This long list of all possibilities. There are a lot of possibilities. It looks like I have like 1900 listed here, so there's a pretty good amount. But what I've done is I've gone through a lot of them, basically all of them, to pick and choose which ones I wanted for these combinations. This general build is something that I use for myself most of the time. It's something that I had kind of cooked up before the presets. It's just something that I felt comfortable with in all situations. So yeah, let me just make sure. I don't think there's anything else in here that I really wanted to go over, so maybe we can just move on to to the actual presets. So let me double check though. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. I don't think there was anything else that I wanted to show in game, so let's just swap back over to the spreadsheet. Really quickly, I did want to cover like some basic ground rules. For imprints, you can only have one burn applied. So for a lot of these builds, I'll have one burn, and you don't want to double up on that. You're only gonna have like your max burn apply, so just keep that in mind. Also, some of these imprints, you can have multiple of the same one, so like on hit effects with on hit effects, but then in some other cases you can't have that. You'll only be able to have like on hit and evasion, or on hit and whatever else. The best way to think about that is by looking at this graph right here where it shows those. If it's yellow, it means you can have two of the same effects, I guess, together. So ring can have on hit / on hit, but it can also have permanent and a permanent. So just kind of keep that in mind. Not all imprints are built the same. For the next thing, some abilities are unique to memories. Others can be found on multiple others. So a good example of that is this right here. For your earring, you can only get this Black Spirit Rage Absorb skill on your earring. This is one of the best imprints. And then also before, I think there was one where it's like you can only get attack speed on your gloves and then only move speed on your shoes. This is actually not true anymore. It's shoes and your ring, to my knowledge. Just kind of keep that in mind. Like, there's some abilities that are unique to imprints, and I typically value those pretty highly. Things that are like permanent for max HP are really, really good. But yeah. And then also, identical abilities cannot be on the same memory imprint. So I can't have two, like I can't have an imprint for armor that has two abilities for increasing my max HP. I can only have one of them. So don't like keep re-rolling and being like, oh, I can get 8,000 max HP. You cannot. The next thing I wanted to say was memory permanent abilities cannot exceed the cap. But they can reduce or nullify debuffs. What this means is, like if you look at main weapon, it says permanent increase crit chance. So if you go back to the game, and if I just go over to my inventory, and if we go to like the breakdown of detailed info, my crit chance is capped at 40.9. I can't go higher than that, even though this permanent ability says increase crit chance. It's just gonna help me, like even if I was at 40.9 exactly, it would get me like at 80.9 in the background, but I'm still capped at 40.9. But what this means is, if I were to be debuffed, if someone were to hit me with some type of debuff, and those are typically from skills or from imprints, because I have so much extra crit chance, I will not go under my under 40.9. So if someone hit me for like a 30% debuff, I have more than enough to cover that. And then also something else is, if I were to be in like a zone where I'm farming, so I'm just gonna click in here. I guess I actually have to go to the zone. Let me just auto path really quickly. Okay, so let's say that I'm in like a zone, and some of them have these debuffs. So crit chance minus 17.5%. Same for crit damage, attack speed, move speed, and then all branches. Because I have the imprint, my crit chance is actually going to be higher than this. I don't have the imprint equipped. If you remember, I actually took it off, or I put on one that has like basically nothing. But if I were to select this one and then put it back on, And then we go over here, you can see that these imprints are covering those debuffs now. So this is really, really good. I do not like to have anything less than max for attack speed or move speed or crit chance. So this is, yeah, that's basically what I'm saying here is these cannot exceed the cap, but they can reduce or nullify the debuffs. So it's very helpful. And then also lastly, using red versions of these or like the abyssal versions is still better than using random stats. So if you can't get the primal version of these, I highly encourage just try for a red or an abyssal version of them. Like they're still good, but you'll want to look for these specific pairings or something a little bit similar or different, rather than having some like one good stat and one throwaway one on a primal, if that makes sense. For all of these, I only looked through primals. You can get basically the exact same pairings for all the other tiers of memory imprints, I guess. But for this full ability list, these are only referring to primals. So yes, there are 1900 ability pairings for only the primals. So if you were to like take this link over here, the one that takes you to the full page, this has a lot more pairings. But I basically just like if you want the same thing and if you get abyssal, it's gonna be like lower minimum, lower maximum, but still really good stats. This is just primals are ideal for what you want long term. So this is like what you're shooting for in the long run. I guess let me also kind of show this as well. So again, just basic information. One memory can have 2 abilities. 2 of the 26 abilities are selected according to fixed probability. Yeah, same stuff all right here. And then these are like the abilities that are available. So recover HP on hit, inflict burn, etc, etc. If you want to read through this, you can, but this is really, really good information. And then you're also going to kind of want to know what is it that I guess activates the ability. Is it something that's permanent? Is it something that is on hit? Is it something whenever you are hit? Is it something when you evade? That's with all that being said, that's the most basic information. So let's move on into actually talking about some builds that I have put together. This is the very first one. Actually, before I say this, this is all just my opinion. This is just what I feel like is pretty good. Some things are better for other classes, like the MP and resource imprints are good for certain classes, whereas for others, not so great. For mine, it's actually really, really good to have MP imprints. But then at a certain point, you really don't need that much. You just need enough to get you by, I guess. So in some cases, there is overkill, but I guess before I actually get into the build, I did also want to say, like, for some of these, like, I'm heavily indexing on things, even though there's like a more balanced way to do this. Like for the HP one, I'm heavily leaning into on hit recovery, like on hit HP recovery or evade HP recovery. Like, you don't actually need all of this recovery. It's better to have a balance of things. I just did an extreme because it's more fun that way sometimes. Or for the debuffs, I heavily leaned into decreasing combat resources from other people or decreasing their healing on hit. So the only reason I say is, like, if you want to specialize in something, like really lean into it. I say that because most of these debuffs, they don't stack with other adventurers. It's gonna be the highest effect, I guess. I think that's how it works. I could be wrong on that as well. But basically, like, if someone were to hit, like, let's say I had 50% HP recovery reduction and someone had 60, their 60 is gonna be higher than my 50, so it's almost like my 50 doesn't matter. When I say this, I'm thinking about like mass PvP situations, but also I'm pretty sure it only hits one adventurer, so it might not be the best for that situation. Anyways, the caveat to this is I leaned heavily into it. I know that these are not optimal, not all of them, but some of them are actually pretty close to what I would consider optimal. Like the first 4 are really good pages. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So for the general build, what we're looking for mostly is a bunch of permanent stats to cover all of the debuffs. The reason I want this is because like sometimes if I'm in field, like I just want to make sure that my debuffs are covered. I pretty much always want to have the max HP increase equipped. I want to make sure that if someone hits me, my attack speed's not going to be too low, or my movement speed's not going to be lowered. So basically most of these permanent options that are available I do have equipped. And then also I want to have 1 burn, a little bit of MP, just because I play Phantasma, and the MP recovery really helps my my passive skill. I also want to have some on-hit healing, some evasion abilities, some HP reduction, just because if I'm fighting someone, I don't want them healing for full. Some resource reduction. So this is like literally a jack of all trades, master of none. So for the main weapon, I want the permanent increase to crit chance, and then on hit, what I'll look for is MP on hit, or I've also listed some other options. So this row or this column over here, it has some other options that you could kind of lean towards. It's like if you roll an imprint and you have the increased crit chance, but you don't have the MP on hit, you can replace it for something else like HP on hit, or your HP recovery decreases on hit. So these are also pretty viable options, and what you can basically do is mix and match these other imprints. So it's kind of like, oh well, I really want MP on this one, but since I got HP, I can just swap it out for something else that has HP but can have MP, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is just my ideal, what I would like to see. Also, as part of this, what we're trying to do is get pretty high PvP damage. So anytime that pops up, I'm looking to get that filled in as one of the slots. So for sub weapon, of course I want the permanent increased crit damage. Again, it's pretty nice. And then like I just said, I'm looking for PvP damage anytime I can get it. If I can't get it, I'll put either HP decrease, which is like recovery decreases, or I'll put HP on hit or MP on hit. For the armor, again, I'm always looking for max HP being increased. And then like I only have a certain amount of pairings. So I guess really quickly I want to pivot into something. If you have something that you want, I highly encourage just going to this full ability list by slot, and then seeing what's even available. So again, using the armor as an example, I'm looking for max HP increase. These are my only options. So it's basically like there's no point in looking at all the possible options, because this is it. This is all that I'm looking for. So yeah, take your pick out of all those is what I'm saying. So whenever you have something that you want, just look at what's available, because you can't always mix and match the same things. For the helmet for this build, I really like the idea of, and here's another thing. If you want to look at it this way, you can do it as well. So we clear this and we want to look at helmet. These are all of our options. So I have certain things that are like, oh yeah, I'm cool with that, or yeah, I don't want that at all. Examples of that would be HP on evasion, HP on hit, recover HP or MP on hit, PvP damage, and let's see, HP recovery decrease on hit. These are the skills that I'm mostly looking for, but which ones do I value the highest? In my case, I believe my answer was HP recovery decrease on hit. I just wanted to have that somewhere on this build, and because I couldn't really find it in other spots to put it in, that's where I put it on my helmet. And then as I said before, anytime I have a chance to do PvP damage, increased PvP damage taken on hit, I will increase that. And then again, over here are the other options, just in case you don't really find what you're looking for. For the gloves, I want increase attack speed permanent, So that's pretty nice. Again, it really helps for when you're farming in debuff zones. And then on hit, we're looking for PvP damage taken. So yeah, I don't think I want to go through all of this. I guess I will though. I'm trying to find a good way to not have to go through every single one, but maybe I need to. I want to cover what I'm really looking for. So like for earring, this is a unique skill. Recover HP on Black Spirit Absorb skill. You get 15% of your max HP back whenever you do that. If you can get that, that is really, really good. I don't care if it's Abyssal, Primal, this is a great skill to have. And then you can pair it with anything else that you want. Yeah, I'm not gonna go through this whole thing. What I'm basically gonna say now is like here at the bottom underneath each one of them, I've added up like what are the activations. What's the word I'm looking for? The activation requirements for these, and then I've added them up. So over on permanent, we have increased chance 40%, increased crit damage 65%, increase max HP 4000, increase movement speed 14%, increase attack speed 14%. So this is everything added up from the top. And then MP recovery on hit 24%, recover HP on hit 500, reduce combat resources 24%, recovery decrease 36%, one burn, which is 800, PvP damage comes out to 65%, recover HP on evade 300. So this is just a glance at like everything that I've put together, and I would say this is a very balanced version of all imprints. This is a great way to go. I like to also have chance of reducing evasion CD, so whenever you get hit you have a 10% chance of reducing that that cooldown by 4.5 seconds. So that comes with your armor. This is basically like what you're always looking for is this right here for your armor. Also, something that I have not mentioned are these numbers right here. If it has a 1 next to it, it means like that's something that I'm basically I'm hard committed to this. I really only want these right here. If it has a 2, I'm pretty hard set on one of them, but I'm not super hard set on the second one. So I'm looking for these at the bare minimum, and then the second skill can be swapped out for anything to the right. For the ones that have 3, it's really these are open to pretty much anything that you want to fill the gaps in your build with. So just kind of keep that in mind. This is a great way to look at this build as well. Maybe I should have done this from the beginning, but yeah, this is how I'm going to do it moving forward. Like when we talk about the next build, what are 1s, what are 2s, what are 3s? The only thing is I didn't fill that out. So I'm very sorry about that, but I'll try to stay as structured as possible. With that being said, I am going to move on to the PvP build. What we're looking for is high PvP damage debuff, reducing HP recovery, reducing resource recovery. You'll want your permanents, you'll want 1 burn, you'll want on hit heal, you'll want heal on evade, and HP from potions. So this is really any time that you are fighting other people. The thing is, you can be fighting people in a lot of different areas. You can be doing it 1v1, you can be doing it in zones where you're farming, which have debuffs built in. You can be doing mass PvP, you could be doing node wars, siege wars, whatever they are. So even this page will vary a lot. So again, this is just that's my opinion. So anyone could say that this is wrong, and that's totally okay. I don't mind. But this is, again, just something that I found is what I'm leaning towards. This is what I'm looking forward. And if you want to pick certain parts of it and use it, cool. And if you want to scrap it entirely, that's okay too. But this is just to give you some ideas, especially as like newer players or like intermediate players, people who aren't like super crazy about the game or super like min-maxing. But just an overview of this entire page. For my 1s, I would say that is going to be the armor. This is like a non-negotiable. I definitely want that. For the earring, I definitely want this right here. For the necklace, I typically want the burn on here. Just because of the way all the other skills kind of work out. Normally I'll put the burn somewhere else if I can, and then in here what I'm really looking for is PvP damage taken increase. I want this to be maxed out, so anytime I can get that, I'll take that. So the max PvP damage, I guess, debuff that you can give other people is 78%. So this is like the max number of PvP damage imprints that you can have. And then it's like, okay, well, what do I want to pair that with? Or what are even the possibilities to pair that with? The things that I really like to use for PvP is decreasing combat resources, and then also HP recovery decreases. This is really good for longer term fights. You want to make sure that people aren't getting as much of their resources, and then for the bracelet you have this option to have both of those together. So I believe I just have 2 imprints of each, and then the rest is like my own personal recovery. So on hit HP recovery for me, I have 2 of them. And for MP recovery, I have 1 of them. It's kind of useful to me. And then recover HP on evasion, I really like that as well. You get a lot of HP from doing that, but you don't always get like the best timing for evasion, so I didn't index too heavily on that. And then also for the permanents, I wanted all of these permanents. The increased attack speed, increased move speed. So most of these are non-negotiables, but look at the PvP damage first and then kind of fill the gaps. So it's like, okay, we have these, we have this, we have this, we have this. These are non-negotiables. A burn is technically a non-negotiable. It's just like, where do you want to have that? And then the rest is, how can you mix and match to find something that leans more heavily into your playstyle or what you're trying to do. So over here we have other options that you can have. Apparently the bracelet really doesn't have any other options, so I didn't list anything. So yeah, just pick and choose. I would say look at it this way. What is it you need? And then go look at the list. It's like, okay, what are my options with PvP damage taken for helmet? So go over here, we go to clear, we'll go to helmet, we'll click OK. And you'll have to do this for both sides, I believe. So like you can't even find PvP damage on this left side, so it's over here on this right side. Excuse me, I said that wrong. It's right here. So we'll click that one, and then we can see, oh, I only have 5 options with this. So I can either do recover HP on evasion, or increase Black Spirit skill damage. That's a pretty good one. What I would say though is the recover HP on evasion is probably the best thing that you can get with it, or the skill damage. So just kind of go back over here and be like, okay, so my other options are, so what I have listed here, I can't even do, apparently. At least that's what it looks like. Yeah, apparently I can't even do those together. So what I really need to do is go back and swap this out. Either way, what I would say though is just kind of look at it that way. So filter by what you're really wanting, and then add that in here. I think the reason that I did it this way was these are my 2 skills that I'm most looking at, and if I can't have one, I'll get the other one. So if I can't get the PvP damage taken, then what I would do is go over here and look at HP recovery decrease on hit. And then we'll look at, okay, well, what are my options with that? We have recover HP on evasion. That would probably be a pretty good one as well. So either do that and increase Black Spirit. I misspelled increase there. Black Spirit skill damage on evasion. So that's more what we're looking for. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and adjust this while I'm in here. And I don't know how many of the other ones I messed up. I'm just more or less looking for ideals, and I guess I should have checked a little bit closer. But for this, we will copy this and we are going to put it on here because this is an actual page that we can actually use. But I guess that's an example of like, I probably have some errors in here. You're gonna want to like check to make sure everything kind of works out together. Moving on, that's what I'm looking at. Is what's the first thing we're looking for is max PvP damage for sure, recovery decrease, reduce combat resources, and the rest is just filler. And we're really wanting this. If you can get recover HP on Black Spirit Absorb skill, great. That's perfect. That's beautiful. That's exactly what you want. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. This one I'm pretty sure should have no issues. I checked all of these skills for this page because this is kind of a fun preset for me. So this is your boss preset. This is great for Black Shrine, for world bosses, for like I guess bosses in general, even though you really don't need any help with most bosses. But this is gonna help you especially with like HP recovery and bonus damage, as well as like still having some things. For Black Shrine, you can't actually get bonus HP from potions, so I did not include that on here, but I did kind of make notes whenever it is an option. You can kind of just slot it in there because you're not always doing Black Shrine bosses, but I figured this would be like just an all-in-one boss page. And then also for most of the permanents, I didn't use most of the permanents. There's only some that I really thought were non-negotiables. The armor is basically always going to be the same. Black Spirit Absorb skill, this is again like you'll always want that. And I believe that's kind of about it. Other permanents that you'll really want to be looking for is like on the ring, world boss damage. That's like almost a unique, I think. Like you can only find world boss damage on this and something else. Yeah, the necklace also has it. Extra damage to world bosses. So these are basically non-negotiables as well. Oh, excuse me. The ring is not world boss. It's just bosses in general. But the necklace is world boss. So the necklace and the bracelet have world boss damage. That's something that you definitely want. And then pretty much everything else is just up to you. Like what is it you're really looking for? To me, I think the best thing for Black Shrine bosses is on hit HP recovery. So anytime that I could get that, I made sure to get that. And then also chance to reduce evasion cooldown when attacked. These don't stack very well, but I think if you have two of them, it'll be bumped up to a 20% chance that it gets activated. But the cooldown gets increased to 6 seconds. I don't remember exactly how that works, but I think that this is really good because whenever you're doing Black Shrine, having an extra evade is very helpful. And then also recover HP on evasion. That's something I value very highly whenever I'm doing Black Shrine bosses. And then I always include a burn, so just kind of slot that in wherever you feel comfortable. Again, HP recovery on hit, so for like the helmet and the gloves, that's what I put there. For the shoes, I did more HP recovery on evasion. I also included increased move speed just in case there's a debuff. You really don't want to be slow. Attack speed is one thing, move speed's another, but yeah. Wait, this does say world boss damage. I don't know. Maybe the ring is world boss damage. Maybe I got something mixed up. Let me go ahead and check really quickly though. So let's clear. Let's do the ring. Okay. And this says boss damage, non-world boss. But at the very bottom, nothing there. They do have world boss damage. Okay, so we'll click that and then just kind of see what's available with this. So what we're looking for is world boss damage and then recover HP on hit. So that's exactly what I have listed. If you can get that, that's beautiful. And then for the necklace, this is kind of random. There was nothing really good here. So again, just kind of pick and choose what you think is good for the occasion. And in my case, it's basically anything that's recovery related, or yeah, HP MP, whatever it is. So this is very, very high on hit recoveries. So as you can see, for the permanent, I have permanent 4000 HP, permanent world boss damage. Apparently it's 15%, not 10%. Boss damage I have as 5%, but I didn't see normal boss damage. I think it's supposed to be 15%. Anyways, move speed 14%. On hit MP recovery, I just have it at 12%. I'm Phantasma. It somewhat helps, but really not that much if it's just one imprint. Recover HP on hit, I have 1750, so that is a lot. That is more than a health potion every 3 seconds. I have 800 on hit burn, and then recover HP on evade 1200 every 3 seconds. That is also really, really good. So this is a good survivability, sustainability. You really won't be super active like doing that for world bosses, but for Black Shrine you definitely will be. At least for Calamity 6s. And then also chance to reduce evasion cooldowns, that's on there as well. And then as always, Black Spirit skill absorb is on there. For the next thing, I wanted to talk about farming. So farming, we have vial reduction, AP on hit, AP versus monsters, some permanents, MP on hit, and burn. This will kind of change depending on your class. For my class, I really, really like MP on hit because of my passive. It kills a lot more monsters like with me having it on. So I actually indexed more heavily towards MP rather than like all of the other things. So for my non-negotiables, I really wanted to have permanent crit chance, permanent crit damage, as always max HP. This whole thing is normally always the same. But then I also really wanted to have the attack speed, just because whenever you are in these zones where you're farming, you will want to make sure that you are always at your max stats, I guess. Like if you saw before, if I didn't have my imprints on, I wouldn't have max attack speed or move speed. Move speed matters a little bit less because like you're not really moving anywhere when you're AFK farming. But I included it anyways, just in case, I don't know, someone ran up on me and started hitting me. So yeah, and then also as my main priority, it was MP recovery on hit. If you don't really need the MP, go for AP on hit. Those are like the other options. So like if you hit a monster, your AP goes up by like 50 or 40, I believe is what it really is. So yeah, but in my case, I went for the MP. I have 4, 5, 6 imprints that give me MP on hit, so I actually get 72% MP on hit, I believe every 3 seconds. So that is really, really good. And then from there, the other things that we're really looking for, something that's basically a non-negotiable, is Holy Vial cost reduction. I think you can get this from 2 different items, but the belt is what I went with. It might honestly only be the belt that gives you this, so just make sure that you have this. If you're using tier 3 blessings whenever you're farming, this will really, really help. You don't always use tier 2 or tier 3. Sometimes I just use tier 1 and that's fine, but having this on, it'll cover you whenever you do decide to use it. And then also, anytime I wanted to get AP against monsters as a permanent. I didn't really need anything else. Like I could do AP on hit, but I get a lot more AP against monsters when I use the permanent, or if I use the damage against monsters. The only thing is, I do think that there is a cap here. So like if I go over here, I believe it's right here, damage against monsters, there's a cap of 50%. I don't think there's anything that can really lower it, so this is not super important to have, but it does kind of cover your bases if you want it there. And then of course, again here, increase AP against monsters. So if you really want to, you could do increase AP against monsters and then the AP on hit instead of damage against monsters. So and then same thing here, AP against monsters. Anytime you have the option, go for that one. And here again, AP against monsters. So again, look at the gaps and kind of see like, okay, well, what can I swap these out with? AP on hit, cool, that's fine with me, I guess. It really doesn't do that much, but it does something, I guess. And then these are just kind of throwaway ones. There were no other good options, so I just picked those. But down here at the bottom, you can see the permanents. I have a lot of permanents because I'm really not doing anything other than AFKing. I want these things to always be active, never be inactive. But I have a permanent AP against monsters, 600 AP, which is very, very good. The reason this is good is because it helps you kill monsters that have higher CP than you. So like for me, if I were to go to Donghae province, looking at the monsters, there are 77k CP monsters, so I'm really not going to be doing a lot of damage to them. Even for the 75k ones, I probably can't kill them unless I have a lot of extra damage against monsters. So you might be able to see that on here. Let me double check. I would assume AP against all monsters plus 640. So instead of just having my AP at 36,718, it's actually at like 37,300 and something, which makes a really big difference whenever you're trying to kill monsters. Like I'm telling you, 100 CP, like from doing no damage to some damage, it'll make a difference once you're like right on the cusp of being able to do damage to monsters. So that's why I have these on here. I think they are very helpful, and eventually like you're gonna be one-hitting monsters anyways. You don't need that much stuff. So that's why I went mostly for MP on hit. Because like at a certain point you're one-hitting everything, so what you're really wanting is just for your passive or for your skills to do more. I don't really know too much about other classes. I really only play Phantasma, so I just know that MP really helps me for my farming speed. But with that being said, we can look at the fun ones now. I really don't want to go into the debuff one. I'm a little bit embarrassed because it's not the best looking page in the world. But let's do the HP recovery because this one is kind of fun. What we're mainly looking for is only HP recovery. So on hit HP recovery for the main weapon, the sub weapon, and then let's see, on hit HP recovery for the helmet, on hit for the gloves, and then anytime we can, so I'm just highlighting all the on hits. You can see that there is a lot of on hit HP recovery. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to say there's another one somewhere right here on the belt. So there's 7. So I'm getting I am getting 1750 HP on hit every 3 seconds. So that is very nice. I don't know why some of these say that the cooldown is 0 seconds. I know that it's 3 seconds. So it's just a number error. I got it from the BDM page, but whatever. It is what it is. But that's mainly what I'm looking for, is just as high of on hit HP recovery as I can get. And then also HP from evasion. So we have these as well. So we have a lot of HP on evasion. We have it here, and we have it here as well. So we're getting 1200 HP for evading every 3 seconds. And then everything else was kind of like, okay, well, what would this help me with? I'm looking at debuffing people's HP recovery. So if I can, I want to reduce their HP recovery whenever I hit them, so that way I'm out sustaining people. So that's just like a fun thing to try to do. Again, this is not super balanced. Like, this is probably not gonna work out, but gosh darn it, you're gonna heal a lot. And then also, if you can, get additional HP recovery with HP potions. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. So I'm actually getting 100% additional healing from potions. So I would get 2000 HP for using a 1000 HP health potion. So yeah, there's a lot of healing in this page, but for the armor, it's my non-negotiable. I always stick to this. Literally, I will never change this. This is a really good memory imprint if you can get it. And then for the rest, it's like, well, you'll just want to get a burn somewhere in there. Necklace doesn't really have any good options, so I went with MP. And then obviously for the earring, we want to have the Black Spirit Absorb skill. So yeah, that's the HP page in a nutshell. There's some other options over here on the right side, but I really I just wanted to show that this was possible, and it seems like a lot of fun, but it doesn't seem super practical. And then for the debuffs, I'm gonna briefly skim through this as well. What we're mainly looking for is max PvP damage, because that is the main debuff that we're looking to get against people. And then we're trying to reduce combat resources, reduce recovery resources. So this actually reduces their recovery by 72%. So their healing is cut by 72%. And then reduce crit chance, reduce crit damage. Like, these are minor debuffs. I don't think they're as good as like just your skills in general. So I didn't want to heavily index in them, but maybe just using 1 or 2 is okay. I think you actually need like 2 or 3 to make it worthwhile. Like at some point, there's some type of break point where you have to break it for it to actually be worthwhile using. And I don't think that what I put here is there. But yeah, and then for the permanents, just 4,000 HP, increased move speed 14%, just the basic stuff, recover HP. There weren't a lot of options for the debuffs, but if you can, the main thing is PvP damage reduction and recovery decrease. So these are my fun ones, but I think this really helps like your team. If you're in node war or if you're in mass PvP, you're gonna want to try to debilitate people in some way, shape, or form, and then reducing their HP recovery is very helpful. But yeah, with that being said, I actually think that's kind of everything that I had for today. I feel like I've been talking for a while. I feel like there might be more that I wanted to discuss, but for right now, that's pretty much everything. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. If you have any feedback, leave it in the comment section below. I am going to have a link to this page, this sheet, or this document, I guess, in the description below. What I highly recommend is go to File and then make a copy. This is your way to be able to make changes and do whatever you want to it. I obviously am not going to let anyone make changes to my version of this or to the master version of this, because it's going to mess everything up for everyone who comes in here and downloads it. So I just wanted to say that because I had a lot of people like request access to my Patrizio Merchant Guild delivery. It's like I could have sworn I told y'all what to do, but maybe I didn't. But yeah, go to File, click Make a Copy. Don't request access. I will not give it to you. But yeah, by making a copy, you'll have full access to this. It'll be your own document, and this will just be like a fun little resource for you to use. And then also try to play around with the filters. Make sure like all the things that I have listed are even working. Let me know if there's things that are not working. But yeah, this was a little bit stressful to make, but I had a lot of fun doing it. Let me just make sure that I turn everything on. I know that this is supposed to be the portion where I'm like outroing, but if you have any questions, just let me know. Let me know your thoughts. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, so good luck with your memory imprints. I hope you have fun. Again, this is something that I had really been looking forward to, and I'm super happy to be playing around with. And just as a final reminder, if you can't get the primal version of these, the abyssal version works pretty much just as well. I mean, not just as well, not even close to just as well, but it's better than nothing, and it's definitely something that's good. So like I have a lot of abyssals for these. And just as one more reminder, there is this page over here for the imprint locations. These are like how you can be getting them. If I missed anything, I'll update it and I'll make sure that I get it added. But yeah, I really do hope that this helps. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something, and I hope you get something out of it. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks, bye.